In a dark corner of the galaxy, there was a planet called Zone 9. It looked like a normal trade hub from the outside, but inside it was something else. It was a market. Not for food or weapons, but for living beings. Here, alien women were, rented by humans and other rich species. No one asked them what they wanted. No one cared. They were just entertainment, fun, property. Inside one of the rental houses, there sat a young alien woman. Her skin was light blue, and her eyes were silver like the moon. Her name was Laia. She didn't talk much. She didn't cry anymore. She had learned no one listened. She had been rented many times. Some men were cruel, some were boring. All were the same. Rent her, use her, leave her. Her heart had become cold. She didn't dream anymore. Until he walked in. The door opened. A tall man stepped inside. Human, short black hair, dark coat, quiet steps. His name was Jake. He looked around the room, his eyes scanning like a soldier. He was not laughing like the others. He didn't smell like alcohol. And when he looked at Laia, something was different. The owner of the place, a fat man with green skin, smiled. "She's one of the best. Want her for a night?" Jake didn't smile. He didn't even look at the owner. His eyes stayed on Laia. "Want to rent her," he said. "For how long?" Jake looked again at Laia. "Not for a night," he said. "I want to buy her, forever." The room went quiet. Laia looked up, confused. "Buy her? No one ever said that? Was this man serious? Why?" "What for?" The owner laughed nervously. "Well, she's not cheap. She's a pure Zarin species female." Jake took out a data chip. "Is this enough?" The owner scanned it. His eyes widened. "It's more than enough." Without another word, Jake stepped forward, took Laia's hand, and led her out. No chains. No collar, just a quiet walk outside into the cold night. Laia didn't ask questions. She had learned not to. She just followed. They reached a small ship. It was old but clean. Inside, it was simple. A bed, a table, a kitchen corner, and a locked room at the back. Jake pointed to a soft chair. "Sit." She sat. Quiet. Jake gave her water. Real water, not cheap recycled liquid. "You must be thirsty," he said. Laia looked at the glass. Then at him. "What do you want from me?" she asked softly. Jake sat across from her. "Nothing," he said. She didn't understand. "Then why did you buy me?" Jake didn't answer at first. Then he said, "Because you look tired." "Like someone who needed a way out?" Laia blinked. "No one does that." "I'm not no one," he said. Silence filled the ship. The engine hummed. The stars moved past the window. Laia waited. She expected something, an order, a demand, anything. But Jake just got up and walked to the door at the back. "You can sleep here," he said, opening a side room. It had a bed, clean sheets, even a small screen for shows. "And you?" she asked. "I'll sleep in the cockpit." "Why?" He looked at her. "You're not my prisoner. You're not a rental anymore." "You're free now." Laia didn't move. She just stared at him. Was this a trick? Was he testing her? "Good night." "Laia," he said. Then he left. Laia sat on the bed. Her hands touched the blanket. It felt soft, real. Her heart was confused. Her mind afraid. She waited for hours, for him to come back, for the real truth to show. But he never came. In the middle of the night, she quietly walked to the front of the ship. She opened the cockpit door. Jake was asleep in the pilot chair, his coat around him like a blanket. A soft beep came from the screen beside him. Laia walked closer and saw a photo on the screen. It was Jake. With another alien woman. She looked like Laia, but older and dead. When Laia opened her eyes, she didn't know where she was. The room was quiet. The bed was soft. A strange smell filled the air. Clean air. Not smoke, not sweat. She sat up, confused, for the first time in years. No doors were locked. She stepped out of the small room. The ship was flying slowly through space. Stars glowed outside the window like tiny cold eyes. But inside it was warm. Jake was in the cockpit, awake. He had made coffee. He didn't look at her when she came close. He just said, "Hungry?" Laia paused. She didn't know how to answer. He was the owner. Why would he ask? "I can make food," he said. Human food. Or I can download something your kind eats. She stared at him. You bought me, she said. I'm yours now. Jake looked at her then. No, he said. You were for sale. That doesn't mean you're mine. Laya didn't know what to say. She had always been owned. Now this man was saying she wasn't. Jake handed her a plate. Eat. Then we'll land. Where? She asked. A safe place, my home. Laya didn't trust that word home. They landed on a moon colony called Delta 6. It wasn't a big place, but it was quiet. No soldiers, no market. Just white buildings, clean roads, and silence. Jake had a small house there. It had 1 floor, 2 rooms, and real sunlight panels. When they entered, he didn't show her a cage or chain. He showed her the bathroom, the kitchen, the sofa, and then he said, You can stay as long as you want. What do you want in return? She asked sharply. Jake looked tired. Nothing. Laya laughed, bitter and small. Men don't do things for nothing. Jake walked to a shelf and took something down. It was a photo again, the same one she had seen on the ship. This was my sister, he said quietly. Laya froze. She was like me? Jake nodded. Zaran species. Our parents adopted her after the war. What happened? Jake looked out the window. Someone rented her, said it was for a party. They never returned her. Silence fell, cold, heavy. I searched for months, Jake continued. When I found her, it was too late. Laya didn't ask for details. She already knew what too late meant. Jake said, When I saw you, sitting like her. Same eyes, same silence. I couldn't leave you there. Laya looked at the photo. The girl in it was smiling, happy, free, nothing like her. I'm not your sister, Laya said. I know. Then why save me? Jake looked at her, his voice calm. Because no one ever saved her. Days passed, Jake never touched her. Never. Ordered her. He worked outside during the day fixing ships, trading parts. At night, he cooked and watched the stars. Laya watched him too. She tried to understand him. He wasn't kind like a hero. He wasn't cold like a monster. He was quiet. Alone, like her, she cleaned the house, cooked sometimes, sat on the roof. For the first time in her life, no one owned her time. But still, she didn't feel free. One night, she walked into his room. The door was open. Jake was asleep on the bed. His chest moved slowly. A light hum came from the window behind him, soft. Music. Laya didn't mean to snoop. But something made her look at the desk. A file lay open. Military ID, photos, weapons, orders. Jake wasn't just a man. He was a war hero, a killer. A ghost from a war no one talked about. There was another file, half hidden. It had her name on it. She opened it. It was her record. From the day she was captured, sold, rented, every location, every price. Every owner. And on the last page, a note in Jake's handwriting. Target rescued. Shows signs of deep trauma. Give her time. She's not a weapon. She's a person. Laya dropped the file, her hands shaking. She didn't know whether to cry or run. He had been watching her, studying her, but not to hurt. To understand. She stood by the door, silent. Jake woke up slowly. His eyes met hers. You read it? He asked. Yes. Good, he said. Why are you doing this? She whispered. Because someone has to break the cycle, he said. The morning on Delta 6 was always quiet, but inside Jake's house there was a storm. Laya couldn't stop thinking about the files, about his war medals, about the cold words written on her life like she was a mission, not a person. She watched him from across the room. Jake was fixing an old device like nothing had changed, but everything had. Why did you really save me? She asked. Jake didn't look up. I told you already. You're lying, Laya said, voice sharp now. You didn't just find me. You hunted for me, like a target. Jake paused. His fingers stopped moving, then he looked at her. I used to be good at finding people, he said slowly. That's what I did in the war. Years ago, Jake had been a soldier, a tracker. Not the kind that fought on the front lines. The kind that went behind enemy borders into alien cities, through black zones and brought targets back alive. Or dead. I did bad things, he said. Things I don't talk about. Laya sat down across from him, eyes locked on his face. Tell me, he hesitated. Then he spoke. There was once an operation called Glass Wind, a secret mission. High value. Target extraction? The target? An alien queen's daughter who had joined the rebellion. She was just a teenager, Jake said. We thought she was dangerous, a leader, a weapon. They raided a camp. It was quiet. Too quiet, but there were no soldiers there. Just kids, hiding, scared. I didn't fire, Jake said, voice hard now, but others did. Laya could feel her stomach turn. He continued, After that I started asking questions. That's when they told me to stop, obey, follow orders. Jake didn't stop. He left the army a year later, quietly, no medals. No goodbye. After the war he traveled, tried to forget. But then he saw the market, the rentals. The same people. His army had called threats. Now for sale, and he saw someone who looked like his adopted sister. Not her, of course. She was long gone, but the face was close. It was Laya. I didn't know you, Jake said. But I knew what would happen. To you, Laya sat there, frozen. This man wasn't a hero. He was a ghost of war. A man carrying too much weight, hiding in silence. She thought of the others who had owned her. None of them had a reason. Just hunger, power, but Jake, he didn't save her out of love. Or guilt. He saved her because he couldn't let it happen again. That night, the stars outside the window seemed dimmer. Laya couldn't sleep. She walked outside. The cold air helped her think. She had no memories before the cage. Just flashes, fire, screams, hands grabbing her. Someone calling her name, but not Laya. She didn't know who she was before. Maybe she didn't want to know. Then a sound broke the silence. A soft beep. A red light. She turned around. Jake's house scanner had triggered. Someone had landed nearby. Laya rushed inside. Jake was already up, checking his old rifle. Trouble? She asked. Jake's face was hard. Someone's tracking my ID, military kind. He looked at her. If they know I broke the rules, if they know I bought you, they'll come, Laya whispered. They're already here. Jake opened a box under the floor. Inside it, a second ID, 2 pistols, credits, and a small data chip he handed. It to Laya. If anything happens to me, he said, go to Orion 4, find a man named Kale. Give him this. Laya looked at the chip. What's on it? Jake looked straight into her eyes. Your truth. The morning never came. Delta 6 had artificial light. It stayed soft and warm to make people feel safe. But safety was a lie that day. Jake didn't eat. Laya didn't speak. Both of them listened to every sound, every buzz, every shadow outside. The window. Something was coming. Jake checked his gun again and again, though it was already loaded. Laya sat by the door, holding the small chip he had given her last night. Her hands were shaking. Is it the government? She asked finally. Jake shook his head. No, worse, private hunters. Paid shadows. Paid by who? Jake looked at her, his face pale. By people who want you back. Outside, the wind blew red dust across the open path. A ship appeared in the sky. It didn't have lights. It didn't make a sound. It just floated like a predator waiting to strike. Jake whispered, They're here. He grabbed his pack, tossed her a black jacket. Wear this. We moved through the east tunnel. Laya followed, her heart pounding. They moved fast. Jake knew the colony's hidden ways, old tunnels built before the place was legal. The path was dark, wet, full of echoes, footsteps behind them. Not one. Not two. Many. They're tracking my... Jake said, panting. I didn't wipe it fast enough. Then let me go, Laya said suddenly. I'll run the other way. You'll be safe. Jake stopped. He turned and looked at her like she'd said something insane. I didn't buy you to watch you die, he said. I came to give you freedom, not turn you into bait. Laya's eyes burned. Then why didn't you leave me in that cell? I was used to dying. Jake grabbed her shoulders. Because you're not meant to die. Suddenly a shot hit the wall beside them. Heat flashed past Laya's cheek. They ran through broken tunnels over cracked floors. Jake shot once, twice. Someone screamed behind them. Laya fell once. Jake pulled her up. They burst out of the tunnel into open desert. The sky above was ash-gray. The hunters weren't far behind. A small scout ship waited on the hill. "Keep moving!" Jake shouted. But Laya froze. Her body started shaking. Her head burned. Voices filled her ears, not from outside, from inside. "Wake up!" She clutched her chest. Her skin glowed faintly blue light under the skin. Her legs weakened. Jake saw her. "Laya, what's happening?" I don't know." She dropped to her knees. The desert went silent in her mind, and then a memory broke through. A room of white fire, a woman's voice, soft and deep. "Your name is not Laya, it is Alzara." She gasped, eyes wide. Jake dropped beside her. "Laya? I remember something," she whispered. "I remember being trained, not rented, not broken, trained." More gunfire. Jake lifted her up. They barely reached the scout ship. He slammed the door shut, hit the launch. The ship rose into the sky as they escaped. 3 dark ships chased them. Laya sat in the co-pilot seat, dazed. "Jake, what if I'm not just someone's property? What if I was something important?" Jake stared ahead. "Then someone is very afraid of you remembering." They flew through dead space, silent and dark. Jake finally spoke, breaking the cold air. "That chip I gave you, it doesn't just have your records. It has the name of the man who erased your memories." Laya turned slowly. "You knew this?" "I wasn't sure," he said. "But I had to hope. I didn't want to open it until you were ready." "I think I'm ready now," she whispered. She plugged the chip into the console. A soft voice played. "It wasn't human. If you are hearing this, Jareen blood still runs in you. They will hunt you, because you are not meant to serve. You are meant to rule." Laya looked at her hands. The faint glow under her skin was back. Jake stared at her, not afraid, but curious, amazed. "You're not who I saved," he said. "You're more?" She looked at him. "No," she said. "I'm exactly who you saved." Space was never silent for her again after the message from the chip played. Something inside Laya woke up, and it refused to sleep. She stared at her reflection in the mirror of the scout ship. Same silver eyes, same pale blue skin, but now there was light beneath it. A soft glow, like something under ice, like something trying to rise. Jake watched her from across the ship, saying nothing. He could feel it too. She was changing, not like a weapon turning on, like a memory becoming real. They landed on an abandoned moon called Varel 2. No one lived there anymore. The buildings were old and cracked, taken back by dust and silence. Jake knew a healer who once worked with both humans and Zaraena, a woman named Mara. If anyone could understand what was happening to Laya, it was her. Mara was older now. Wrinkled skin, golden eyes, voice like a storm in a bottle. When she saw Laya, her face changed. "You brought me a ghost," she said softly. Jake frowned. "What do you mean?" Mara stepped forward, looking into Laya's eyes. "This one was not born for cages," she said. "She was built in fire and silence." Laya didn't understand. Mara led her to a small room, lit with blue candles, symbols on the walls. Strange whispers in the air. "Sit," she said, "and remember." When Laya closed her eyes, the world shifted. She was not in the room anymore. She was in a hall of silver glass, tall, bright, echoing with alien voices. And at the center herself, younger, dressed in royal white. A crown of living crystal on her head. A mark on her hand that glowed when she raised it. "Her name is Alzara, heir to the Zarenan bloodlight," a voice said. The same voice from the chip. A teacher, a protector, and then the fire. The hall broke. Screams. People in armor dragging her, injecting something, erasing her mind, selling her not as a leader, not as a warrior. As a rental, a product, a lie. Laya woke up screaming. Jake rushed in, but she raised her hand, and without thinking, a wave of blue energy pushed him back. He hit the wall, hard. Laya gasped. "I didn't mean." Jake stood slowly, rubbing his shoulder. "It's okay." His voice was calm. "Not scared, I think," he said. "You're remembering what they wanted you to forget." Mara stepped in behind them. Her eyes were wide. "You're not just a royal," she said. "You are one of the last Lightburn." That energy in your blood, it's not a gift, it's a signal. Signal? Laya asked. To your enemies. Mara said, they know now, they feel it, they will come. That night, Laya sat outside the healer's home. She stared at her hands. She could still feel the power. Like something breathing under her skin. She hated it, loved it, feared it. Jake sat beside her. She didn't look at him. You should leave me here. No, you saw what I did to you. I could kill someone. I've seen worse, Jake said. I've been worse, she turned to him. I was meant to rule. Now I can't even sleep without shaking. Jake leaned closer. Then don't rule yet. Just survive. Suddenly, the ground shook. Lights flashed in the sky. They both looked up. 3 black ships hovered above the trees. No markings. No warnings. Just hunters. Again. Mara ran out of the house. They found her. You must leave now. Jake pulled Laya toward the ship. But she didn't move. She stood still, and then something in her eyes changed. Not fear, not panic. Focus. I'm done running, she said. Jake stared. What are you talking about? She looked down at her hands. They glowed brighter now. I don't know how to fight like you. But whatever they put in me, I'm going to use it. Mara placed a hand on her shoulder. Then choose wisely. This power, it burns what it touches. Laya closed her eyes, took a breath, and stepped toward the clearing. As the black ships descended, she raised her hand. The sky turned blue, then white, then silence. The air didn't move. The hunters had landed. But no one stepped out of the ships. They were watching. Waiting. Scanners inside their cockpits were already flashing warnings. High-level energy detected. Zaran class unstable. They didn't expect her to walk out alone, but she did. Laya stepped forward across the dirt, her feet silent, her eyes glowing faint silver. The ground under her boots cracked softly, not from weight, but from pressure. Jake stood behind her, weapon ready. Mara stayed in the shadows, whispering prayers in a dead language. Laya didn't flinch. She had stopped flinching. One of the ships opened. A figure stepped out, tall, armored in dark chrome, face hidden behind a blank mask. The voice was low, filtered, emotionless. Return with us, asset. Your contract is still valid, Laya tilted her head. I'm not an asset. You were created to serve. You were modified to obey. You are not a person. You are Z Code 6, Alzara. She didn't move, but her voice sharpened. You can keep your code. I'm not going anywhere with you. The masked hunter raised a hand. The other 2 ships opened. 6 more stepped out, guns ready. Formation tight. Jake moved forward, whispering, Laya. We need to run, but Laya shook her head. No. Jake's voice lowered. We don't have time. We don't have time because we always run, she said. That ends now. The first shot came fast, red laser. Center mass. But it never touched her. It stopped mid-air, frozen, like glass in the wind, then shattered into dust. Everyone went still. Leah looked down at her hand. She hadn't even moved it. Jake whispered, almost afraid. What are you? Her eyes slowly turned toward him. Free. Everything happened in seconds. The hunters fired. Jake pulled his weapon, but the bullets, beams, pulses, they twisted in the air. They bent around her like time avoided her body. Then she raised both hands, and the ground shook. A blue wave exploded. From her chest, silent but strong, a ripple in space itself, the first hunter flew backward, armor sparking. 2 more screamed as their guns melted in their hands. One tried to run. Laya only looked at him, and he fell to the ground, gasping for breath. Like the air refused to enter his lungs. She wasn't angry. She was in control. When it was over, 5 were unconscious. 2 had escaped in panic. Jake lowered his gun. He hadn't fired a single shot. He looked at Laya as if seeing her for the first time, not as the broken alien girl from the cage, but as someone impossible. She turned back to him, her eyes fading to their normal silver. I didn't kill them, she said softly. I know, he replied. I could have. I know that too. Back at the house, Mara was waiting. She looked at Laya with no fear, only pride. You didn't use force, Mara said. You used balance. Leah was breathing hard, but calm. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted it to stop, Mara nodded. That's how rulers begin. Not with power, but with restraint. That night, as the stars returned to the sky, Jake and Laia sat outside. The air was quiet again. I think they'll come back, Laia said. Jake nodded. They will. She looked at him. And you'll keep running with me? He smiled just a little. I don't think I'm the one running anymore. They sat in silence for a while. Then Laia asked, when you first bought me, what did you think I'd become? Jake didn't look at her. He just said, honestly, I thought maybe you'd learn to laugh again. And now? He turned to her. Now I think you'll change the galaxy. The galaxy had changed, not because of war, not because of weapons, but because one woman said no. Leonsa Rental, once forgotten, had stood against hunters with nothing but her memory and her power. And now, everyone knew her name again. Al single quotes ZHARA. Ships came, not with guns but with flags. Leaders from 3 alien sectors sent messages. If you return to the throne, we will follow. If you lead, we will rise again. But they didn't ask what she wanted, only what she could be. Jake sat in the old ship, reading reports from across the systems, whispers, rumors. Some feared her, some worshipped her, but Jake only thought about one thing: would she leave him behind? Laia stood on a high balcony of the moon capital, dressed not in armor but in plain dark clothes. Her silver eyes stared down at the city below, peaceful, curious, watching her like a question no one dared to ask. Maer stood beside her. They want their queen, she said. I'm not sure I want to be one, Laia replied. Then what do you want? Laia didn't answer at first. She thought about all the cages, all the rented nights, all the faces who saw her as less. Then she thought about one face. Jake. She turned to Mara. What if I don't want to sit on a throne? Mara smiled. Then you shouldn't. You already stood taller without one. That night, Laia walked into the ship. Jake looked up, but said nothing. She sat beside him. I told them I'm not their queen, she said. Jake blinked. What did they say? They said I was selfish, that I had a duty. Jake's voice was quiet. Maybe you do. I told them this, Laia continued. I won't wear a crown built on old blood, but I'll build something new, on my own terms. Jake smiled slowly. Sounds like something a queen would say. She leaned back, tired but calm. You still want to run with me? Jake looked at her. No, he said. She froze. Then he added, I don't want to run anymore. I want to stay with you, wherever you go. In the weeks that followed, Laia didn't return to royalty. She and Jake created something different, a small station. Neutral ground. No politics. No cages. Just a haven, for people like her, for people like him, for anyone who wanted a second chance, and one quiet evening under a silver sky. Jake handed her something small, simple, a ring made from the melted shell of one of the hunter's bullets. She looked at him. You want to marry a weapon? She asked. He smiled. I'm marrying a woman who was never anyone's property, who chose her own path. And let me walk beside her. Laia took the ring. And for the first time in her life, she laughed. A real, soft, living laugh. They didn't have a big ceremony, just 2 cups of warm, light tea, 2 hands held across a table, and 2 promises to never own each other and never leave each other. Some said she vanished after that. Others said she became a myth, but those who made it to the station always found her there fixing ships, helping runaways, sharing stories. They called her by many names: the Blue Flame, the Star Queen, the rental who became a revolution. But Jake? He just called her his wife.